Assalamualaikum. Today our group will present a data from the World Data Bank comparing between ASEAN-6 countries and CLMV countries. First off, we start with unemployment rate data. We can see that for CLMV countries, their unemployment rate is steady around 1 to 2.1%, which is below than the lowest unemployment rate for ASEAN-6. Starting from 2012 to 2017, the unemployment rate slowly increased from 0.9 to 1.66%, then dropped to 1.33 in the next year. After that, the rate spiked to 2.12% in 2021. Overall, we can see the number of people who doesn't have a job increase over the year. Next, we move to unemployment rate for ASEAN-6 countries. The highest unemployment rate is recorded in 2017, which is 4.01%, and the lowest rate is during 2019, which is 3.30%. We can see the rate trend is quite steady compared to CLMV unemployment rate. The number of people who are not employed steady around 3.5% over the year. Overall, unemployment rate for CLMV countries is lower and better than ASEAN-6 countries. Move to the next present.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Muhammad Afnan, metric number 1918625, and I will be presenting on the inflation data on the inflation rate for ASEAN-6 and ASEAN-4, or the CLMV group. So these are the data that I collected from the World Bank website, or in their data bank, and I downloaded into Excel, and then I calculated the average for each country for ASEAN-6, and for each country for ASEAN-4. So these are the latest data that can be collected from the World Bank. So I collected for a span of 10 years, 2012 to 2021. And then I make it into a graph to make a better comparison. And so for the average inflation rate for ASEAN-6 has been not quite steady, within the span of 10 years from 2012 to 2021. So the lowest is negative 2.45% of average inflation rate for ASEAN-6 is negative 2.45%, or a deflation rate of 2.45%. In 2020, this is actually because of COVID-19, the COVID-19 pandemic. And then the highest for ASEAN-6 is actually in 2021, which is an inflation rate of 5.9%, which is actually due to a bounce back effect from the opening up of economy after COVID-19 pandemic. This is expected because of the rise in demand after a lockdown, after the pandemic lockdown, the rise in demand and supply cannot catch up. So basically inflation rise from 2020 to 2021. This is expected actually. And then for ASEAN-4, or Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar and Vietnam, or the CLMV group, their inflation rate has been quite steady, because most of these countries are a little bit least developed in ASEAN. So basically most of them are quite closed. They are not quite integrated in the global economy. So they are not quite as affected during the pandemic. So their inflation rate has been quite steady for the last 10 years, in 2012 to 2021. The highest has been actually in 2012, which is an inflation rate of 6.12%. And the lowest has been in 2016, which is a 1.41%, an average of 1.41% of inflation rate. So for basically that is it for the data on average inflation rate for ASEAN-6 and ASEAN-4, or the CLMV group. Thank you.